he observes is what he called the March of the Jews. And what that was when they would, round up all these Jewish people and hold them in various areas. Then they needed to get them to the train stations. And they didn't want to use precious fuel for that, so they would just march them in big herds through the streets. And he watched those processions several times, and just seeing the kids crying and the mothers fearful, and just watching these whole groups of Jews being corralled down to the train station. And, again, being a little bit naive about what was going on, other than this was not good, and by that point he realized that, it was still kind of what are they doing with these people? Like, he didn't understand what was going to be happening with them. He told me that what they were being told was that they were going to be used to help re-educate, because they were going to conquer the Russians, Germany was, right? And that they were going to help re-educate the Russian people in the ways of the Germans. He said that's what they were told. And so, they were all wondering, well, what's going to happen when this is all over? Are they going to be coming back? What are they going to be coming back to if they do come back? And everybody at this point was doubting this story, because these people that were being hauled away were not, nobody heard from them again. And so it was very unclear to them, at least at that time, about what was going on. So Hank goes into hiding, and it obviously appeared to be organized by the resistance. He actually says he doesn't know that for sure, but I think from the evidence that probably is what was going on. Sorry, I have some allergies going on. I get a little bit of drip going. Sorry. So and one of the pieces of evidence is that he was moved around a lot, and also they were required to change their name over and over again. So every time they changed places, they also got a new name. So he got moved around a lot. He pretty much kind of just did what he was told, kind of thing. He again tended to stay sort of dumb about the whole thing. Like, he wasn't one of these guys that's like, oh, I'm gonna join the resistance and fight. He was just like, just tell me what to do and I'll just go there and be there. And that's what he did. He said that he was that he was usually the youngest single male, because at that point then he was about 16. And he said he actually rarely saw too many people his age by themselves. So there were either children with their mothers or older men. And he said he rarely saw ones his age, which in a way kind of surprises me, because there were many people in hiding who were avoiding the draft to work for Germany. And so they were out there trying to avoid that. So he ends up being in hiding for 2 years, age 16 to 18. And some interesting things happened during that time. That's a very interesting thing to be going through coming of age, as you can imagine. And the other thing that happens is how he ends up getting his diploma. That's a very funny story, because of course one of the things that this did is it interrupted his education. And of course he still wanted to be a pilot or something awful. And but not being educated, that could potentially down the road be a problem. So one of the places where he stayed, there was a guy who, of course there was a lot of smoking back then, almost all men smoked back then. And yet tobacco was really hard to come by. It was extremely rare to get it. And so this one person that in this one place where he was hiding really was addicted to tobacco. and would just smoke anything. I mean, if he could get ersatz tobacco, a sort of fake tobacco, he would, but even that was sometimes hard to come by. And Hank told me that this guy would smoke almost anything. It's like grass, whatever. And so this guy